Arsenal might be the best team in the country, so why am I looking to sell their assets? Welcome to my new YouTube show. Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, Zinchenko, Gabriel, very good FPL options. So why am I looking to sell, and should you be doing the same? This is down to personal opinion. I don't think there's necessarily a right and a wrong option here. The form for Arsenal players has been amazing, but if you're a manager that likes to chase good fixture runs, well, maybe now is the time to come off Arsenal. They don't have a double game week left between now and the end of the season, whilst you could recruit players that have 2 or 3 doubles between now and the end of the season. And I only think it's worth selling Arsenal if there are exceptional candidates to bring in instead. So let's look at some of those candidates in just a sec. But before we do, the Arsenal fixtures, right? So Leeds up in 29 is a nice fixture at home, but it's not a double game week like a lot of the teams. And then it's a difficult run. They go to Anfield. They go to the London Stadium. They do play Southampton at home in game week 32, but I'm going to be free hitting that week anyway, and I think many will be too. Then they go to City. They play Chelsea, Newcastle, Brighton, and then they end the season Forest and Wolves. And look, by game week 35, we'll probably be bringing them in again, and I probably will too. But for now, I'm happy going without. And the scariest week of all is actually game week 29. It's the week here and now, but it's only one fixture. And the reason I'm looking to sell the likes of Martinelli and Saka is because I think there's some very good candidates. So who am I looking at this week? Who do we like this week? Well, the standout options are at Man United, in particular with Bruno, of course, and at Leicester. We look at Harvey Barnes is an underrated pick, and James Maddison is an exceptional pick as well. Leicester have a really nice double. And then look, if you're looking at selling, say, your Arsenal defenders, there's defenders out there like Chilwell and like Luke Shaw, very good fixture runs too, and good upside. So look, I sold Zinchenko last week, and this week I'm looking to sell Martinelli and Saka, and I do say that with a heavy heart, and perhaps it's the wrong decision, but I'm chasing fixtures perhaps over form because Saka arguably is the most informed player in the country at the moment. So look, let's compare who you're bringing in, because there's an argument to say you just go one of them. You have 2 Arsenal midfielders, you sell one and keep one. You keep Saka, you sell the other one, and you recruit a Maddison or a Bruno. Do you need both? And that might be an option I take. I'm definitely selling one, but I think I'm veering towards 2 as I record this. But a lot can change because, of course, we still have flags over the likes of Haaland and Rashford, and even Havertz is flagged for me. So by the end of the week, this strategy could change. So please do caveat this message with those flags, and on Friday I'll be making my final decisions, no doubt, and we'll know more off the back of press conferences. So let's have a look at some of the numbers. The last 6 game weeks, but last 5 starts for each player. So this is really important. We're looking at the last 5 starts for Bruno, for Maddison, and for Barnes. Who has the better numbers? Well, Bruno hasn't had a goal in that time in the Premier League, and he's had an XG of 1.22. His expected assists have been almost 2, and he's had 2 assists as well. So he's kind of matching there. He's had 15 goal attempts. Maddison, in comparison, similar with goal attempts, 16. He's had a goal from an XG of 1.0, literally like for like. And he's had 2 assists from 1.51, so he's slightly overperforming with his assists. And then Harvey Barnes has had 2 goals, XG of 1.91, so the highest expected goals of the 3 and the highest output for Harvey Barnes. The assist threat we know with Harvey Barnes is much lower though, 0.60 expected assists off 0. Who are the standout options? These numbers, they don't tell us a huge amount, but I think for me it's Bruno and Maddison with more routes to points through assists and therefore bonus, because the creativity these guys bring really does affect their potential for bonus points as well. I mean, are we bringing both in or one in? And this comes down to your risk appetite to sell an Arsenal player ahead of a good fixture against Leeds. My argument is the fixtures are just so good. These aren't necessarily, do they pay off? Does that 4-point hit pay off in 1 week? No, it pays off over a few. And Bruno has 3 double game weeks versus Saka or Martinelli or Odegaard 0. Maddison, the next 3 fixtures are insane. He goes to Palace, who are all over the place. Then he has Villa at home. Now, that's a big derby for Leicester. I've got a ticket. Well excited. And then he has Bournemouth at home. You couldn't ask for 3 better fixtures in a run. This is a guy that's just come back from the England camp. His first start, he's flying high. He's had a little bit of time off because he only played once over the 2 games for England. I really want to bring in both these players, and I think there's a strong possibility, as I said, I do. But look, let's move on. We're going to talk captaincy later. We're going to speak to the world number one later. But before we do, let's have a quick look at how I got on last week. So here we go, 55 points. It was a very small green arrow. And look, your big green arrows came from your players, your managers that went big on captaining Saka. And fair play to those that did. 18 points is absolutely huge. I wasn't that close to it. I took that fine because, when you miss out on a big captaincy haul like that and you were close to captaining him, it's really, really frustrating. I wasn't close. I was looking at Martinelli. I was looking at Kane. I went Kane. I'm okay with that. I got a return. Some went Tony and who blanked. So let's not dwell on last week. It's a small green. I'm happy with that. 200k-ish. Let's have a look at the week to come. Here we go. 7.1 million in the bank. Guys, I am bench boosting this week, and we need to talk a little bit about that bench boost because what we do now know is game week 34 is a really, really good double game week. So there are some that are bench boosting in 29 and always planned 29, and there are others that planned for 29 that now are looking at bench boosting in 34. That's absolutely cool. I see why you would bench boost in 34. I've gone and looked at what this team might look like in game week 34, and it's an impressive bench. Is it as impressive as game week 29's bench? No, I don't think it is. Also, don't get the two keepers playing twice. I also don't know what's around the corner, and I also don't want to be shoehorned into particular transfers. I also think come game week 34, money's going to be more tight, right? I'm going to be trying to accommodate Salah because Liverpool have a double. I might not want to sell Haaland or Kane or Bruno, right? One of them probably has to go. But money's going to be important. And therefore, if money's important, slimming down that bench is important. There is a good chance from game week 34, I have a 4.4 million forward on my bench, a dead spot. Or I have a 3.8 million defender on my bench, a dead spot. And I want those dead spots so I can accommodate a really good 11 because we've got to bring in Liverpool players for game week 34. They have a really nice double and a good fixture run. And very few of us have Liverpool. So with that in mind, bench boosting now makes complete sense. Yes, there's flags on a few players and my strategy could change, but I'm hopeful on the likes of Rashford and Havertz. So there we go. That's my plan this week. In terms of transfers I've mentioned, I am looking at both Bruno and Maddison for my Arsenal midfielders. It could be one or the other. I could keep one Arsenal mid and bring in just Bruno. I haven't mentioned Haaland. I need money in the bank to bring Haaland in next week. Now, if I do go Maddison in and Bruno in for the Arsenal mids, I then need I'm going to need 0.1 or possibly 0.2 with price changes to bring in Haaland next week for Tony. So to do that, next week, I'm going to have to find 0.1 or 0.2 from somewhere. Now, the very obvious spot there is Rico Henry, isn't it? Rico Henry is a double this week, not a great double. So rather than wait and sell him next week, I'm like, which would be on a hit. Do I just take an extra hit this week? Sell Rico Henry this week to a defender with a better double than him. Now, there are plenty of good options. I'll give you two good ones, and that's clubs. West Ham have a much better double than Brentford. Kurt Zouma is 4.3, 4.4. And then Leicester, they have a much better double than Brentford. I could go Ricardo Pereira 4.3 or Castagna 4.4. Pereira's underlyings are much better, but you're always worried with his injuries. So I might take that third transfer this week for a -8 to then set myself up to bring in Haaland next week for Tony. But again, a lot of that depends on Haaland's fitness and status. Of course, Champions League up for Man City as well. Big game there. Big game they have against Bayern Munich, which is next week as well. So that's my thoughts around transfers this week. It's going to be a busy one. It's fun. We're all going in different directions, which I love, especially when the template's pretty strong. It makes for a much more fun game. So my plans loosely are to sell Saka, Martinelli, Henry if I go for all three, and then it's Maddison, Bruno, and then either a Zuma or a Castagna or Ricardo Pereira in. And then long term, it's selling Tony for Haaland. And then come game week 31, I might be selling Chilwell for a Man City defender. Then I'm looking at free hit in 32 and a roll in 33 to bring in Liverpool players in 34. That's my rough strategy. I don't like to go into too much detail because so much can change. But yes, I do have a spreadsheet in front of me with all those fixtures and those transfers planned out. Let's move on to talking tactics. 60 seconds on why Leicester are a good option this week. So they haven't been performing to their best and they are in a relegation scrap, but the fixtures look kind. And when you look at their touch maps and their pass maps, it's impressive for one guy. That is James Maddison. Let's bring up the pass map from the game against Southampton, which they lost a couple of weeks ago. Now, this is a little bit of a different formation Brendan Rodgers has gone with since the signing of the Brazilian winger Tete. Tete now plays on the right, Barnes on the left, with either Iheanacho or Daka up top. It allows Maddison to play in that free role, that 10 role. Maddison, this season a lot, has been playing out wide on the right and drifting central, but having to occupy those spaces. Well, not anymore. He's got license to roam in that 10 channel. And look at this map, almost the most advanced player, loads of touches, but also check out the fullbacks. Look at Ricardo Pereira. When he's fit, he's a great FPL option, even more advanced than Castagna. I like the Leicester fullbacks. I love James Maddison. I love the fixtures. Leicester are a team I'm recruiting. There we go. 60 seconds to the second. Well impressed with that one. Genuinely, I really like the Leicester assets this week. I think the next three fixtures are absolutely brilliant for them. Let's move on to a little bit of captaincy chat. Okay, this point in the show, we usually talk differentials, but this week we're talking differential captains. I'm going to give you my three top picks. I'm going to start with the obvious one. And by the way, no Kane, no Haaland, single game weekers, and no Salah this week, who's got a really tricky double game week. So for me, I'm not looking at those three guys. It's a Man United midfielder. That'll be where many of us go to. It'll be Rashford for most or Bruno for some. If Rashford's fit, I think he'll be the most popular. Newcastle away, Brentford at home. The fixtures are good, but they're not great. But the comfort there is these are reliable assets that produce week in, week out, Rashford especially, and United score goals. So I like that shout and I might go there. But I am torn because number 2 and number 3 option I really, really like, and I'm completely split at the moment. Number 2 option is James Maddison. We've spoken about him in the stream already. I am going to be bringing him in most likely. And if I do, I really like the fixtures. I like the fact that he's fresh off England duty with a spring in his step. I also like the fact that he knows he's playing to keep Leicester in the Premier League. And look, he's probably going to be off in the summer. And with that in mind, he's going to be the talisman. He's going to be the hero. James Maddison is due a haul. His underlyings in the last 3 weeks have been good. He's only had 1 assist in that time in the last 3. But he's so creative and playing in that 10 role with that license to roam. He'll get late runs into the box, but he'll assist aplenty. So definitely one I'm considering. And then Solly March, number 3. Your Brighton mids should all be in contention. The reason why I don't love the McAllister pick and I don't love the Matoma pick is purely the international travel. They've been busy, right? McAllister's been in Argentina, Matoma in Japan. Long haul flights back, time difference, lack of time on the training ground with De Zerbi. Well, there's one guy there that's had a lot of time on the training ground that genuinely believes he should have been called up for his international squad, and that is Solly March. Solly March, I love the fixtures. I think Brentford at home is a nice fixture. United have the same fixture in the second part of the game week. But then Solly March goes to Bournemouth. Again, I see goals in that one. The way Solly March has been playing, the way he played against Grimsby just before the break in the FA Cup, he was the standout player. The more I watch Brighton, the more I go, oh, Solly March, he's probably the one to go for. Now, McAllister's the obvious one because of the penalty appeal playing number 10. But when McAllister plays slightly deeper, like he did against Grimsby, I watch games and go, it's all about Matoma, it's all about March. They're the 2 I own, and I'm quite happy about that. I'm hoping McAllister stays deep, although I expect he'll move back into the 10. So March, Maddison, Rashford or Bruno are the standout 3 or 4 captaincy options this week. I'm still torn, but I feel like this might be the week to go a little different. If we're looking for tips this game week, no better person to speak to than friend of the channel and world number 1, Ali Yahangarov. Ali is absolutely flying. He finished 215th last season. Let's hear what he's got to say ahead of game week 29. Without giving away too much, where are you looking at certain game weeks to go, that's exactly where I'm using my wild card, that's exactly where I'm using my bench boost, or are you still taking it week by week?
I do have a plan ahead, but this all due to change, barring injuries and all the fixture changes. You never know what the rescheduled fixtures look like. Well, at the moment, I'm leaning more of on a bench boost in game week 29 because it's the biggest double game week. I have few issues in my team that I have to take care of. If everything looks good, I might pull the trigger. But if I have a couple more flags in my team, I think I might pass it on to, few game weeks ahead.
Yeah. And Ali, you're an Arsenal fan. This is a game week where loads will be selling Arsenal assets because they have a single game week against Leeds.
Let them sell them.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you expect Arsenal to get on against Leeds? Because that's still a very good fixture for Saka and co, isn't it?
It always happens every year. Once the double game week players come on stage, all the singlers suddenly look really bad, and everyone wants to roll the dice twice and to see. It's a good opportunity to regain, positions, ranks, and. But for me, long term, knowing that I won't be wildcarding in 30, in 31, I think I have to think outside the box on this one.
Love that. Okay. And just finally, your thoughts on some of the midfielders from the Manchester clubs. At the moment, many will own no City. They'll probably own Haaland next week. They'll own just Rashford. Who do you like from those Manchester clubs? Because they're going to double in probably 34 and 37 for the run-in. They're teams we should probably be looking to invest in. So the likes of a Foden or a Sancho or a Bruno. Any of those players on your radar?
I think from United, I would go for Bruno Fernandes because he's been absolutely on fire in this recent game weeks. Even in the FA Cup, he just scored a brace. From City, I would say Foden is a good pick for the upcoming fixtures because he's been scoring for fun lately. No matter the competition, he's been scoring for fun. So I think Foden and Bruno are two main picks from both teams.
Ali, thank you very much. Lovely to chat as always, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Always enjoy speaking to Ali. You can check out his 5 top tips on this channel as well. We recorded a couple of weeks ago. Go check out that video. For now, guys, thank you for watching. Before you leave, if you fancy subscribing to the channel, that'd be awesome. And of course, hit that like button before you go. We'll see you soon.